leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WinFM. Join Azar Gums as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WinFM 98.9.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
This Christmas, make the season brighter with help from TDC Financial Services. Whether it's gifts for the family, a holiday home makeover, or that special celebration you've been dreaming of, our Christmas loan promotion is here to make it happen. Get up to $85,000 unsecured or $100,000 secured with affordable rates, fast approval, and the trusted service you know and love. Apply today at TDC Financial Services on Central Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts, or Main Street, Charlestown, Nevis. TDC Financial Services, your holiday, your loan, your way, where money is made easy.
Here are your Horsters Value Max IGA specials.
Running November 27th to December 10th.
Now our Value Club Blue Tag specials. Malto meal bagged cereals, just $19.99. Essential Everyday White Vinegar, $14.99. Pillsbury Cake Mix, $6.99. Chef Boyardee canned and microwave pastas, $6.99. Celeste pizzas, $6.99 each. Morning Star meatless entrees, $20.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. IGA or Essential Everyday Mac and Cheese, $2.99. Essential Everyday Oils, Vegetable and Canola, $13.99. Essential Everyday Croutons, $5.99. Libby's Canned Vegetables, $2.99. Nature Valley Granola Bars, $12.99. The Hammer Toothpaste, $14.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart, tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en Value Mart.
Don't throw those bottles away. Turn them into money today. Vitamalt bottles equal cash in your pocket. It's super easy. Just take those empty Vitamalt bottles to any Cara Brewery distribution truck or any drinks depot in St. Kitts and Nevis. We're keeping our beautiful Twin Island paradise clean. Vitamalt bottles equal cash back. Keep it clean, keep it green. Vitamalt bottle returns. Your bottles, your cash, your island.
People make the world go.
And a pleasant good day to you. The time in the studios of WinFM 98.9 is precisely 10 o'clock. And we have with us, as stated before, and he is a man to his word. He's here with us for the final episode for this year. We're looking forward to him back next year. Good day to you, Mr. Chesley Hamilton, and how are you today?
I am well. Good morning, Quinn. Good morning to the listeners at home and abroad, wherever you're listening, whether on the radio, in the vehicle, at home, or online streaming, whether that too is on your phone, in your vehicle, or elsewhere, or by other means. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Quinn, I promised I'll come in and do a show here in December before we get fully fledged into the Christmas and Carnival season. Yeah. So I'm trying to make this my final presentation. It would come before the VAT days, it would come before budget, it will come before that. But I hope that I would leave you to, and leave the audience to contemplate what they're going to do for December and what they will do for the new year 2026. I wish everyone happiness, health, in their pursuit of happiness, and fairness and justice and other noble pursuits. So, with those things said, I'd just like to do a little bit of recap some of the topics that we dealt with. We dealt with the judge-only legislation. We dealt with SSZ. We dealt with the traffic speed limits. We dealt with a number of other issues.
We even dealt with
throughout
cricket.
the year.
Remember, we even dealt with some cricket.
Remember,
we even dealt with cricket when we had.
Yes, we dealt with cricket. We had Victor N. I spent my night last night watching the West Indies do themselves proud by drawing a test in
that was a good one.
In New Zealand, making some 450 odd runs in the second innings to salvage the test, and at least they could hold their head high going into the second test. And I hope the batsmen, especially top order batsmen, will do better. The bowling seems to be holding their own from time to time, but the catching and the batting is substandard. I can't put it any better. Been following some of the Ashes series as well. So, as I told my wife when I got married, she has a crowded marriage with two other mistresses, one called Polly and the other called Cricket. So it's politics and cricket. So those are the things that may keep me up or keep me out of the bed at night. I didn't even mention the jealous mistress, the law. But, just making it a little lighthearted. But those are the things that I would lose some sleep over. Yes, I do lose sleep over the West Indies cricket team. And somebody might want to know why I'm that. But, yeah.
Yeah, we all do.
Some things keep my blood pumping. And, I follow them no matter where they are. And if I'm going to critique them, I must be able to see and know what I am critiquing and what I'm criticizing, what I'm praising, and therefore I want to be in the know. I don't do so without knowledge. What's on your mind, Quint, and then I will follow up, and then we invite the listeners to
chime in
and say what's on their mind for the end of the. I listened to a healthy debate one afternoon about double salary and whether one is paid annually, divided by 26 paychecks or 52 paychecks, or you're paid annually divided by 12 paychecks. And I found the conversation fascinating and interesting. Because if you are K32 or K30, whatever, 39, it's really what the government budget for your annual salary, and they may decide how they're going to divide it in terms of paying you. So are you justified in saying that because it's 52 weeks, you're supposed to get 13 paychecks as opposed to 12, or 26 as opposed to 24? So, because some people who are weekly wage earners get 52. My thing is that it's really an annual budget, and therefore, however they divide it, it's a matter that you are paid on an annual budget. So it's a good discussion, it's a good argument, but. I know the person receiving the money will like to say they are supposed to get 13 paychecks, and the person monthly, if they're being paid monthly, and the person who is paying say, no, you are entitled to 12. But really and truly, if you're budgeting annually, it's really a cap divided by how many intervals of paying. So I came to the conclusion that both things can be right at the same time. In terms of the amount of money you would receive, but it's really or the amount of intervals you're being paid. You could be paid, a double salary, but does that change the amount of money you should receive annually? Remember also that you qualify that 2% of your salary will be held back, so that when you are on vacation, you can get one of those paychecks because you're not working and you get it, and then you say, well, I'm entitled to my vacation. You might think you're entitled to paid vacation, but if you look at the deductions, you realize they took out the money to pay you for that vacation. So those are some of the conversations. It's a relevant conversation, knowing that the end of the year is coming and the government, people who work for government, etc., would be thinking about that extra paycheck, that bonus, that whatever it is. And if you put all of that in context, there are going to be conversations around the water cooler.
At what time did this double salary come into play? Can you remember, like, the first time it ever happened?
I stand corrected. I know somewhere under the People's Action Movement government, they started it in the early 80s. I don't remember it being paid before that.
No.
I don't remember it. I'm not saying that I am correct, but I don't remember it being paid before that. And it was a way of with the growth that was happening in the economy, it was a way of giving especially those at the bottom end of the pay scale some more money. For instance, I know during that era, when government gave increases, they would give sometimes those at the bottom a 40% increase, and they would stagger it. So then those at the top would probably only get a 10% increase, because it was a way of shrinking the wage gap. Now, if they give a 10%, everybody get 10%, so it widens the wage gap. And the ways of implementing social policy, and you have to have some principle and objective behind the policy, and what is the effect, not just the intent, but the effect of the policy. And many times when there is a pay increase or double salary, if I'm at the top of the scale and you give me a double salary, if you give me $20,000, that's probably somebody's annual pay, and they're going home with that in 1 month. And you will ask, is that right? Is that fair? Is that just?
But was there ever a time that the higher echelon did not get that double salary?
I think there are a couple of times by choice, and I think more so, and again, I must stand corrected, in Nevis, I think that they excluded themselves from certain bonuses and pay. I don't remember it elsewhere.
Oh, because I was always of the impression that it was a sort of a gimmick for the higher echelon to go home with, with a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because you could say, oh, double salary, but those at the low scale, they're glad for that, but those at the higher scale can almost pay a big part of their mortgage with that double salary.
There's no parity whatsoever when someone can take home, $40,000 if they're being paid $20,000 a month. In one paycheck, so now that they're being paid bi-monthly, twice per month, is it a half salary? Is it an extra pay, or is it an extra month's pay? Mm-hmm. Those are some of the answers and questions that would be out there. And because there must be an objective, there must be an aim, there must be a principle behind it. Is it a bonus? What is it? How does it affect the budget and the budgeted? Government plans its budget annually. So how does that affect the annual budget when you decide to do these things?
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, as we discussed the last time you were leaving, I would like you to touch on the judge only, because you sent me a video of what was happening in the UK. So after this break, we'll like you to delve into that.
Okay.
Found the sound 98.9.
The battle for the crown is officially on. Sugar Mass 54 presents the Republic Bank Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis pageant on Saturday, December 13th at 7 p.m. All eyes turn to the Water Park Cricket Stadium as 8 brilliant young queens step forward to represent their schools with pride, purpose, and poise. Cheer for Kimaya McDonald of Keon High, Tatiana Archer of the Immaculate Conception Catholic School, Kamira Williams of Virchow's High, Kaylin Brown of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School, Jewel Nisbet of the Dr. Denzel L. Douglas Secondary School, Galia Philtua of the Baxter High School, Kato Rollins of the Washington Archibald High School, and Selena Alwani of Sky Academy. One stage, one crown, one unforgettable night as these rising stars bring talent, elegance, and school spirit center stage. Who will rise? Who will shine? And who will take home the title? Find out live at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium. Admission is only $50 for adults and $40 for children under 18. Tickets available at skandcarnival.com. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
The countdown is on. The sweetest season of the year is here. From December 13th to January 2nd, St. Kitts and Nevis comes alive once more with vibes galore, energy to explore, and moments sweeter than ever before. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core. The stage erupts with the passion of Calypso, the sweet sound of Pan, the heat of soca, dazzling pageants and traditions that make you love Carnival even more. Dance to the streets at Juve, celebrate folklore, and revel in the Grand Carnival Parade, a celebration of rhythm, color, culture. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
People make the world go
And we are back, 15 minutes moving away from the 10 o'clock hour, and right over to you, Mr. Chesley Hamilton.
Yes, I came across an article that said that the Secretary of Justice in the UK, in England and Wales, were planning to abolish judge-only trials for certain matters, except the most serious crime in England and Wales because of the backlog in their system. And the backlash was fast, swift, furious, and even quoting the now Secretary of Justice when he was not in that seat for being against it. But what is interesting is that the proposal suggested that for those cases where you could get a sentence of more than 5 years, those would still be jury trial, 5 years.
Okay.
So we have certain instances where we have what we call summary trials. These are matters that were dealt with before the magistrate. And when we listen to our debate, the Justice Minister here would say, oh, most cases are dealt with by judge alone, which is a magistrate, and therefore they're not doing anything differently. What he failed to understand and failed to communicate, because you need to come with full transparency. the magistrate, many times, summary conviction has a lesser penalty and a lesser maximum. And therefore, people may opt to be tried before the magistrate, knowing that. And here is the UK proposing something, but saying anything that is more than 5 years would still be a jury trial. And therefore, again, it's a matter of dealing with it. But the criticism has said that the jury is not responsible for the backlog. The backlog more often is a matter of the finance and resources of courthouses availability and judges being paid and hired and put in place to deal with these cases. So it's all right when you're wearing the administrator hat to say that this is the issue, but when you're not, you find another argument. So I am just dealing with some of the issues in the article and bringing it there to shed light on what we have done. And I am saying, and I will say again, the legislation, which I think I have in my briefcase here, speak to a whole schedule of offenses, many of which the accused, the defendant, has no choice in the matter. It is an election by the prosecution, the Crown. Mind you, there are some instances when the accused now can ask for it. But I believe that fairness dictates that this should not be a Crown election. Whether they want to say it's a gang-related matter, whether they want to say jury, fear in the jury. We went through this, the spike in a spate of crime years back. And during that time, we had our jury trials, and there were minimal instances of anyone interfering or tampering with the jury. Minimal instances. People would like to say that someone who was in the jury panel died last year, I think it was, or earlier this year, and got shot, and that had something to do with some case that the person may or may not have sat on. The issue is the police came out and said that death had nothing to do with that jury trial, with him being on the panel. So if the police investigation and their press release is saying that, then you can use that and put it in the mix and say that, oh, somebody was on the jury, so therefore we need to then not have jury trials and take a draconian view and put in legislation to take away rights that we have had for more than 5 centuries.
Let me ask you this. If it is that in the UK they're suggesting that anything above 5 years they would lean towards jury, does that not suggest that there's a better confidence level in terms of the public and the court as it relates to jury trials?
Gwen, let me take you into Criminal Law 101. Criminal Law 101, when there's a jury trial, is that the jury is responsible to deal with the evidence and come to fact-finding conclusions.
Yeah.
The jury is supreme, that's the word we use, on the facts. The judge is supreme on the law.
Okay.
So the conclusions that the jury comes to on the facts, they are what we hold sacrosanct.
Yeah.
Now, when you make the judge of the facts and the judge of the law, I got a big problem. and I'm saying that because it's one man, one woman, one person, advising themselves as what is the facts. And sometimes you make an argument, to a judge, and the judge conclude that there is enough for there to be a trial, meaning that it passed the threshold
Yeah.
of 51%. On a
Yeah.
balance of probability, yes, there is something to go to the jury. Now, when a judge has already said, yeah, there is something to be tried, you're going to trust that judge to then decide, but it's not enough to be beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yeah, it's kind of counterproductive.
So let the judge say, yeah, there is something to go to the jury, but let the jury say, that ain't enough to make me feel sure.
Yeah.
I believe that is a better principle of checks and balances. Is a better, no, justice is not a pure science.
Yeah.
It's a social science.
And I understand that example too, because if the judge, in his determination, feel that there's enough for it to go to trial, that means he already has a conviction to a certain extent within his mind. Yeah, so, yeah, that
And I don't like it. I mean, they're going to say, "Oh, I'm a trained mind. I'm an intellectual. I could have disabused that from my mind." BS. Okay, and that is what Chesley said, and I'm not afraid to say it. I don't. And with the best of respect, the greatest of respect to who is on the bench and who is not. Okay, when you are in the balance, when you are at jeopardy, I don't believe it is fairness in such serious matters. In a matter where, the penalty is less than 5 years, by the time it is dealt with and, it might be a first-time offender and the starting point is at so-and-so and you deal with the mitigated and aggravated circumstances, it's less than 3 years. If you get a 3-year sentence, Quinn, you're going to spend 2. You understand?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is justice served, but it is at the lower ebb of the penalty scale.
The penalty
but
is
when you're dealing with matters that are life, and matters that is 25 years and up, and matters that are starting at 30 years, and you got to go up for the aggravated circumstance and down, and one person.
I hear you. I feel you too. Yeah.
I think it's lunacy.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, and it's wrong. I am simply saying it is wrong. With all the due respect to the capacity and the education and all of these things of that person, it is wrong. And I'll tell you why it's wrong, Quinn. Further, Quinn, there are times when you have a trial and you come back with what is called a hung jury. Here we have 12 jurors. And if 9 of them are saying Quint is guilty and 3 saying Quint is not guilty, that is not a safe verdict.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, 10-2 is a safe verdict. 10-2. So that one person that held out and said, "Why no, me if he's sure," give Quint an opportunity to have maybe a second crack as a retrial, or they might decide not to retry the matter.
Yeah.
You understand how justice in those kind of ways.
Yes.
12 person, but just propose that one of those 9 were the one making the decision of you're innocent or you're guilty. Bam, you're gone in.
You're gone in, yeah. Just like that.
Just like that. And I'm saying that is what we must guard against. That person doesn't like dreadlocks, or they don't like somebody with beard, or they don't like the hue of your skin, or they don't like people from Canary because something had happened to them in Canary. Or they don't like your last name. Them people there with their last name, they're trouble people or troublemakers. And you ain't got no criminal record, You are a person of good character.
Yeah.
Those kind of things I am saying, you cannot be left to one person.
And I agree with you because recently I've realized that a lot of individuals who have been given positions that for instance, given a title, that holds a position, they don't always live up to it. Like recently, yesterday I was perusing the news and they found out that a lot of nurses in the USA who are doing certain things in relation to dealing with black women when they're going through pregnancy, they're compromising a lot of black women because of their prejudice. There was an instance where when children are born prematurely, they're put into this, whatever they call it, I can't remember.
The incubator. And
yeah, but they have a special name for it. But anyway, this particular nurse, they found that 3 babies during her time presiding over, wound up with broken limbs, right? And apparently, because of their suspicion, they started to monitor her, and then they realized 2 more babies came out with broken limbs, and then lo and behold, you find a nurse, because I'm juxtaposing a nurse where you in relation to a judge, you understand? Because this is an individual who has a title and is supposed to execute a particular function. And
professionally?
And then they found out that she, because of her prejudice against black individuals, she was actually, could you imagine that? Breaking the little children's limbs.
I'm saying, you have to guard against these sort of things. You know, cultural biases, cultural prejudices. You know, I never understood how you could talk about justice and talk about, we have 5 conservative judges or 6 conservative judges and 3 liberal judges. I just couldn't understand it. Until you come across and people who are fixated.
Yeah.
Fixated that once you are accused of something, you're guilty. Because because as far as they're concerned, every young black person in the Caribbean, every young person between the ages of 18 and 30 is part of a criminal culture.
Yeah.
I heard one young man say, "My Lord, I grew up in McKnight. I can't avoid being around gang people." But you're going to say because of my gang affiliation, because my brother might have been said to be in a gang, that my trial must be dealt with a certain way because I am a member of a gang?
Well, look at this recent example. Recently, one of the individuals who are supposed to be investors in Nevis was having a chit-chat with some fellows on an interview, and he referred to St. Kitts and Nevis as being a crime-ridden country. And we know that there were times when that was happening, but look at how it has moved from then to now. But it shows that he has implanted in his mind an impression of St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Kitts and Nevis youth and crime.
I'm going to give you an example. God bless his soul, right? We had a judge here by the name of Errol Thomas. Justice Errol Thomas was part of the riots in Montreal with Chedi Jagan and Rosie Douglas, not Chedi Jagan. Sorry, it is what's Walter Rodney and the.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Errol Thomas was in Montreal and going to the same school. Errol Thomas ended up a lawyer and became a member of the bench in St. Kitts. Now, if you had deemed Errol Thomas a member of a gang because of that, how could he have gone on to serve on the bench?
Yeah. You can't let your prejudices affect someone's life and career. Yeah, I understand.
So these youngsters who are growing up in the McKnight area or Newtown or any of these areas that are said to have quote-unquote gangs, and when you see the definition of a gang, you know, that is why I was telling these youngsters, do not sign anything to get on the peace, because they will then turn around and say your name is on the list with the peace, and therefore you are a member of a gang.
I never looked at it like that, but that is interesting.
And it's coming back to bite some of them.
Yeah.
All who was on the peace were part. You had to give up gang affiliation to be on the peace. So you're signing this thing, and I say it's going to come back to haunt you. It's going to come back to haunt you. So you go through the list and you see who was on the peace, and if the person is even associated with any of them, you have gang affiliation.
Yeah.
You have gang affiliation. A person without a criminal record. Okay, the onus is not on the state to prove the case. And very little. They could just get up and say, this person have gang affiliation and your trial rights has been
compromised.
Yeah. Deemed to be whatever they want it to be. So that the same judge that is making the decision, okay, on that preliminary point, gonna turn around and try you judge only? Oh my, oh my, oh my. Oh my.
And let's take another commercial break, and when we come back, you can elucidate further on. You made a comment about let me see, on dealing with the right and the left, conservative, and I want you to kind of delve into that a bit, because we see where that conservatism or liberalism is affecting what is happening in the world today.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
This Christmas, make the season brighter with help from TDC Financial Services. Whether it's gifts for the family, a holiday home makeover, or that special celebration you've been dreaming of, our Christmas loan promotion is here to make it happen. Get up to $85,000 unsecured or $100,000 secured with affordable rates, fast approval, and the trusted service you know and love. Apply today at TDC Financial Services on Central Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts, or Main Street, Charlestown, Nevis. TDC Financial Services, your holiday, your loan, your way, where money is made easy.
Here are your Horsters Value Max IGA specials.
Running November 27th to December 10th.
Now our Value Club Blue Tag specials. Malto-meal bagged cereals, just $19.99. Essential Everyday White Vinegar, $14.99. Pillsbury Cake Mix, $6.99. Chef Boyardee canned and microwave pastas, $6.99. Celeste pizzas, $6.99 each. Morning Star meatless entrees, $20.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. IGA or Essential Everyday Mac and Cheese, $2.99. Essential Everyday Oils, Vegetable and Canola, $13.99. Essential Everyday Croutons, $5.99. Libby's Canned Vegetables, $2.99. Nature Valley Granola Bars, $12.99. The Arm & Hammer Toothpaste, $14.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart, tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en Value Mart.
Don't throw those bottles away. Turn them into money today. Vitamalt bottles equal cash in your pocket. It's super easy. Just take those empty Vitamalt bottles to any Cara Brewery distribution truck or any drinks depot in St. Kitts and Nevis. We're keeping our beautiful Twin Island paradise clean. Vitamalt bottles equal cash back. Keep it clean, keep it green. Vitamalt bottle returns. Your bottles, your cash, your island.
People make the world go.
And we are back, 10:36. Now, before that break, I asked you to address something because it goes into why it is important to have jury trial. Because if you have judges who consider themselves whether they are conservative or they are liberal, And we find today we have a president who is conservative, and he leans towards these judges who are, like him, conservative. And we see how the law plays out. And even before, in his early stages, when we heard some of those conservative judges saying, well, you know, if once you're president, you have the leeway to do blah, 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 blah. And we see where that is kind of a playing out. So it then means that if a judge be conservative or liberal, their views will lean towards their conservatism or liberalism, and then in their case, it is better to have a jury trial because you know there's going to be some kind of lean towards their conservatism or liberalism. So what do you feel about that?
Look, I have heard judges say things like that's an asinine piece of law. Right? Now, if Parliament in its wisdom decide to pass a law, my job is to take that law and as a legal practitioner go and practice. And a judge is to give that law interpretation or its meaning. But to criticize Parliament for passing a given law to correct a certain mischief that Parliament knows and understands is the mischief they want to correct. I have a big problem with that.
Yeah.
Not from the bench.
I agree. That's like what happened recently with the Speaker of the House.
You know?
Yeah.
Not from the bench. You're out of place to be dealing with that. If you have a difficulty, you write a memo to the Attorney General and say this piece of law should need amending, and these are the suggestions that I make because this is the difficulty in implementing that piece of legislation. But to publicly say that is an asinine piece of law and it's poorly drafted or anything like that from the bench, I think you have gone beyond your remit.
Yeah, because we know where you stand as far as that is concerned. Yeah.
You've gone beyond your remit. And I've heard those things in my 25 years of practice. Now, to answer the question specifically, as you put it, this thing about liberal judges and conservative judges, then it means you could start the court to get the outcome you want.
Yeah.
And that, again, cannot put confidence in justice. You know? So you can decide, I want a liberal judge in St. Kitts because I want this to happen. Or I want a conservative judge in St. Kitts because I want this sort of thing to happen. That, especially in a small jurisdiction where you have one judge, I have problems with those things. The edicts of the law, the principles of precedence, and imparting law as it is handed down from the appeal court or the Privy Council or the CCJ. One must have confidence in that. One must have confidence in that. That is what makes us a good investment environment. We need great professionals like accountants and lawyers and doctors and so on in the society. We need great institutions like banks and insurance companies. Okay? And then we have to be certain about the type of law that we practice in the jurisdiction. Whether it's the English common law with a lot of precedents from 400 or 500 years back to now, and a system that respects the principles of justice. When you have those things, then it becomes a good environment for me to put my money. I am not going to put millions or billions of dollars into St. Kitts if tomorrow thugs are going to run the government and extort me of my money. But if I know there's a good judicial system, and if I have a problem, I could take it to the court, and you could almost predict once you are principled the outcome for whether it's compensation, damages, whatever it is, you are confident in putting your money there. You're even saying, well, if I don't get justice at first instant at the local court, I know I have an appeal court which is regional that I can depend on, or I have the CCJ or the Privy Council, which brings a certain level of certainty to the principles and the precedents. But if you then now can then stack the court, the High Court or the Supreme Court, or stack the appeal court, you're buying justice. You are buying justice. And you can't have any confidence in that. Yeah. It's not a good environment for investment. Why am I going to put my money in a country where tomorrow a decision could just come to wipe me out? And don't think that I'm just talking hypothetical. It is just like yesterday you are a criminal if you're trading in marijuana products. Yeah. And today, because you have more liberal judges and so on, you are a healthcare investor. you understand? The reverse would also happen. Yeah. That you are dealing with certain things right now, and tomorrow that right is taken away because people feel you shouldn't be dealing with that. Yeah. That is kind of like what's happened in the offshore banking market, or the captive insurance market, or the citizenship for investment market. You know? You don't want things to be changing. You want stable economies where you can afford to invest and project your return. Yeah. That is important for an investment environment. So the legal system and the predictability in the legal system is one of the corners, the pillar stone of a healthy investment climate and jurisdiction.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So if they have one judge, or is the process the same where you have the accused and you have the prosecution and you have the defense, and they put their case? It's just that is one individual presiding over the decision as opposed to 12. That's the difference.
I'm going to show you. I want to show you something to show how this thing is half baked and not properly thought out. Yeah. On the civil side, there is something called a master. Okay. And the master is where you go after you have put in your claim and the defense and so on. Then you go to the masters to narrow the issues and to see if you could resolve the matter before the master, or you could resolve the master may send out the matter for mediation and come back. And if you have a consent order, the master deal with the consent order before. So therefore, only the most acrimonious things reach to the judge for trial in the civil side. Okay. To the judge. To the judge. Yeah. On the criminal side, who is doing case management? The same judge who are narrowing the issues and dabbling in things that are not on oath, and before them, the evidence, is the same judge that is going to try the matter judge only.
So...
Don't laugh, because when I say these things, people say, oh, Chesley, you got a gripe.
But that is why I asked if the process is the same. So now you're showing me that there are differences in the process itself.
I mean, if you think it out, then put in place something called a master as well to handle the preliminaries, so that when you go to the judge-only trial, the judge is only dealing with the issues that are left there for them to decide. Because that is the role of the judge when there's judge and jury. The judge handles all of those procedural issues, all of those legal issues under law, and leave the evidence and the facts to the jury.
Yeah.
But with a swipe of a pen, you don't need those rights and processes anymore. Swipe of a pen. And it's not limited to 5 years. Or less. I got serious problems with these things. No, I am not at jeopardy. I ain't got no charges hanging over my head, you know. Knock on wood and thank be to God, you know. But should I be in that position? All I ask is procedural fairness. All I would like. Because everybody know I'm outspoken. Everybody know that I have a certain bent when it comes to my politics. And the most I could ask for is that I be tried by 12 of my peers. I might not be able to convince all 12.
But
I might not even be able to convince a majority.
Yeah.
But 3 of them say, no, Chesley is not guilty. At least I'm entitled to a trial.
Yeah.
I will hold that any day over one man.
Let me ask you this, because in speaking to you, I'm envisioning certain things in my mind. There is the prosecution again, and there's the defense lawyer. What made you decide that you were going to be a defense lawyer as opposed to be a prosecution?
I listened to something on another radio station. It was T.G. Jakes with a New Year's message that talks about, it's about 7 minutes long. It talks about confidants, comrades, and constituents. 3 C's. And it says if you have 3 confidants, you're blessed. The reason why I have become a defense counsel is not because of, well, let me say what it is. To whom much is given, much is expected. And if I were to get in trouble, Quint, I will want somebody to stand up for me.
Okay.
And when I came home, police were locking up people's children and denying them their rights. I would go to the police station and they said, no, we're talking to him, so you can't talk to him. They have something called a caution. And they said, we cautioned him and we took a statement from him. Now let me say the caution for you. You're not obliged to say anything. Anything you say will be taken down in writing and maybe given in evidence.
And maybe.
It will be taken down in writing and maybe given in evidence. Now, anywhere in that say you got a right to a lawyer?
No, may hear nothing.
Listen to it again. You're not obliged to say anything. Anything you say will be taken down in writing and maybe given in evidence. Anything in that say you got a right to a lawyer?
No.
Good. And they used to do that and say, oh, we took a caution statement. We tell him he was not obliged to say anything. And then he decided to talk.
But I also have a problem.
But hold on. So then here comes Chesley and I said, let me tell you something. He has a constitutional right to a lawyer. And yes, you tell him he's not obliged to say anything. But you're not obliged to say anything. It's like saying you have a right to remain silent.
Yeah.
Did you say to him, you have a right to remain silent? Do you wish to speak? You see? You could tell me I have a right, And then you go, yeah, I inform him of his right. But then you then start to ask questions. Yeah. Did you say, yes, I'm not obliged to say anything, but have I waived that right? I waived the right because I answer your questions. And these are the sleight of hands that police were practicing.
Yeah.
I want to show you the sleight of hand. Because up to that point, they didn't say, okay, do you wish now to make a statement? Could you sign here that you waive the right to remain silent? Yeah. No. They never used to go through those. And sometimes you go before judges and judges say, oh, that's a technicality. There's no such thing as a technicality. You're practicing law. That is the edicts of the law. And judges must uphold the law. And stop talking about technicality. There is no such thing as a technicality. We're not technicians. We are practitioners of the law. And if the law says something and you say, listen to me, you did not follow the principles of the law, the judge should then say, you are wrong. Too often we have judges overruling, boy, you ain't gonna get away with that technicality. We don't want smart lawyers making people don't. No, the law is the law. Uphold the law. That is why you are the arbiter. And if they would do that, then police practices would improve. And people will find more fairness and justice in their society. But when judges and the bench and magistrate condone bad practices by police officers, then the society decays. And they ain't taking no responsibility.
Yeah.
They don't take any responsibility. But judges need to take responsibility. Magistrates need to take responsibility. Because if they hold the officers to best practices, we all will benefit as a society.
Let me ask you this, because I have a problem with when the police says you can speak or whatever, and we will take what you say as evidence, but it may be used. I have a problem with that, because I again see the importance of having a good defense lawyer, because it then means by that all the evidence that is taken, the police is not entitled to bring it.
Well, that's the point, when you're representing yourself. But if you have a lawyer, the lawyer asks for disclosure, and disclosure must be full and complete.
So that's it.
I mean, sometimes you say something and the police withhold a statement.
Yeah.
The police isn't supposed to decide what is for you and what is not for you. They're supposed to give you everything. It is not their statement.
Yeah.
It is the public statement.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't aware. I only became aware of that just now when you spoke it. I realized there was a discrepancy in there, because here's someone saying to you, what you say could be used against you, but it may not all come to, and then definitely you need a defense lawyer. Because
and that is why you need people who have, as we would say, darkened the halls of the court with their presence.
Yeah.
You have a lot of lawyers who may go to the police station and you're giving a statement and they go on and witness the statement. But you can't be a witness and an advocate in the same case. So I don't witness nobody's statement. I tell my clients, listen to me, you're not obliged to say anything. Right? Meaning nothing, nada, nit, nothing. No say a thing. Silent means silent. Silent is golden. I tell them that you don't have to say anything. Your name, your address, that's all you have to basically tell them. You don't need to tell them anything else. Where you were, who you were with, or nothing else. They have all the other information that they need to have. And today you have judges who are telling you, oh, when the allegation was put to you, you said nothing. Well, the person got a right to remain silent. They ain't got to say anything.
Yeah.
It's a right, it's a constitutional right. Oh, there is no positive defense. What name, sir? I don't have to say anything. You brought an allegation against me, and I do not, you need to prove your allegation. I do not have to say anything.
But it seems to me...
It's a right. It's a constitutional right.
But it seems to me, Chesley, this is where, when you're poor, these things work against you, because when you're rich, I don't hear judges saying, well, you didn't say anything. But so why is it they come with that when you're poor?
Well, listen to this. It ain't even when you're poor, because Chesley will go to the station to talk to you and to give you advice, even without you paying Chesley. The problem is they accuse you. From the outset, I'm looking after poor people's rights. And when time to be paid, and I say, listen to me, pay me from the time the person was accused. They said, no, you only going to get paid from the time the judge appoint you.
Yeah.
So I'm only being paid at the trial. But I am looking over people's rights long before that. And these are the kind of things that the state get away with.
And
so the state accuse you of a murder. They have you there violating your rights. Somebody show up to protect you and protect your rights from that outset, a citizen. And the state is saying that person ain't deserve to be paid.
But isn't that a way of retarding lawyers from...
Well, we know that is what it's about.
Yeah, okay.
It's a shakedown. It's a shakedown. Is that a disincentive for you to protect citizens' rights?
Yeah.
But I always say to you, the rights that those people enjoy are my rights. Without those people's rights being protected, I have no rights.
That's it.
They could take me and Quinton, put us in the square and hang us at dawn, at high noon, if we don't have any rights.
Yeah.
And if Quint has rights, I have rights. Because these people are innocent until proven otherwise. Just like me and you who are innocent, they are innocent until you prove them otherwise. And if they have no right, I have no rights. That is the key. It's not about them, it's about us. We need protection from the state. It is the individual versus the state. You need protection from the collective. The individual need protection from the collective. And I am standing up for individual rights and freedoms. Because if the individual has no rights, the state got all. The state could come in your house and search your house. It could come in and take you out. It could come in there, all manner of things. Search your letters, search everything. It seize anything. Go on fishing expeditions.
Yeah.
The rights that you enjoy are the individual enjoy, are the rights of all of us collectively.
As you say, fishing expedition, I remember some years ago that there was a discrepancy as to something I might have said on radio, and it was brought to the manager of that radio station at the time. And the manager came to me and said, well, Quint, you know, this person said you said so and so and so and so. So I said, yeah, but I didn't say so and so and so. So the manager then said to me, well, I want you to get a tape of what you said, and I'm gonna take it and give it to the person. So I looked at the manager and I said, wait, what did you just say? And he said, I want you to get a tape. So I looked at him and I said, so you're telling me that someone accuses us of something, me, and by extension the radio station, and you're going to take evidence and give it to that person? I said, suppose the person in scrutinizing that doesn't get what they wanted, but they get something else that they can use against us. The manager then looked at me and he didn't say anything, but he got where I was coming from, and he never did send anything to that person, and nothing came out of it.
He who allege must prove.
That's it.
He who allege must prove.
Yeah.
If you can't prove your allegation, the person remain as they are, innocent until proven otherwise.
That's it.
And those are the principles. Those are the principles. If you accuse me of something, prove it. If you can't prove it, leave me alone.
Yeah.
That is how it is. And I am not here to condone wrong. I am basically living by the principles and the tenets of proper practice as an advocate. And I want to live in a liberal democracy where the individual has rights and protection against the state. I don't want a big government peeping into your account to see more money in there. Yeah, you understand? Coming into your house to see what's inside there. Without a warrant, without any cause, without any probable cause. I don't want that. There must be confidentiality, privacy. You understand?
Yeah.
It's not that I'm doing anything wrong, but the state doesn't have the right to intrude. It's like Pierre Trudeau once said, the state has no right in the bedrooms of the nation.
Yeah, you're entitled to a certain level of privacy.
You understand? I mean, you don't need to know what I do in my bedroom.
So
what language I use in there.
So let me ask you this now, because we are kind of broadening the whole discussion. Yes. What is the difference between when somebody says a contract, they say you don't have a contract, which is a written contract as opposed to a verbal contract. There was a time when people felt like you had to have a written contract to win a case, and then we found out that no, you don't have to have a written contract. You can have a verbal contract. So explain the two to me. The difference between
I think I don't want to say you're asking answers, but you have already answered it. I mean, you know.
Because, okay, let me use a
It's
hypothetical.
always good. It's always good to have a written contract, and especially if the written contract says that nothing that is not written in this contract, you know,
Yeah, it's beholden to.
is binding.
Yes.
It has to be written, and any adjustment or amendment must be in writing. But if you have an agreement, a handshake agreement, a verbal contract, you know, and there is what you call consideration, there is something else called specific performance, you know. So the conduct, you have already made an agreement, somebody has already acted, then, you know, somebody else is there's a reasonable expectation that the other person will do
What
their
they
version.
said, yeah.
And if there is a breach, once there's a breach, then it's a matter of going to court to correct the mischief.
Yeah.
Or the harm, as they will call it. And that is corrected by something called damages, which is really money.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get technical, but a verbal contract, especially when especially if you have it witnessed,
Witnessed,
or you have
that's
it
important.
documented with
Yeah.
performance or
Yeah.
conduct, can stand the test of time.
Which means if that is in the public domain on record, right? Okay, because there's certain things that I want to be clear on, because I find that individuals in trying to curtail expressions, individuals use certain jargons like, well, you know, do you have a contract? Do you know, and that kind of stuff. And I say, well, no, but the expressions of that individual is documented in the public domain. And that could be used again as evidence, because I can always.
See, and again, it depends on what they do. There's contract law, and there's did this person have a duty or an obligation? The issue,
Yeah.
and how they phrase it, then they could ask for remedy, whether in equity or in contract.
Okay. Okay, let's take a bit of a commercial break, and I assume when you come back, there might be something you want to elucidate on, but you might also want to let the audience know.
I
they
want
can-
the
they can
audience
call
to come in because,
Yeah.
like I said, it's the last show, and I want them to express
Yeah.
what they like to finally deal with going into the new year.
Okay, so we'll take a break, and when we come back, if you have questions out there, the wider audience, then feel free to call and utilize the brains that is at your disposal.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The battle for the crown is officially on. Sugarmass 54 presents the Republic Bank Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis pageant on Saturday, December 13th at 7 p.m. All eyes turn to the Water Park Cricket Stadium as 8 brilliant young queens step forward to represent their schools with pride, purpose, and poise. Cheer for Kimaya McDonald of Keon High, Tatiana Archer of the Immaculate Conception Catholic School, Kamira Williams of Virchow's High, Kayleen Brown of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School, Jewel Nisbet of the Dr. Denzel L. Douglas Secondary School, Galia Philtua of the Baxter High School, Kato Rollins of the Washington Archibald High School, and Selena Alwani of Sky Academy. One stage, one crown, one unforgettable night as these rising stars bring talent, elegance, and school spirit center stage. Who will rise? Who will shine? And who will take home the title? Find out live at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium. Admission is only $50 for adults and $40 for children under 18. Tickets available at skandcarnival.com. Sugarmass 54, sweet to the core.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
The countdown is on. The sweetest season of the year is here. From December 13th to January 2nd, St. Kitts and Nevis comes alive once more with vibes galore, energy to explore, and moments sweeter than ever before. Sugar Max 54, sweet to the core. The stage erupts with the passion of Calypso, the sweet sound of Pan, the heat of Soca, dazzling pageants and traditions that make you love Carnival even more. Dance to the streets at Juve, celebrate folklore, and revel in the Grand Carnival Parade, a celebration of rhythm, color, culture. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
People make the world go
And we're back. The time, 8 minutes moving away from the 11 o'clock hour, and it has been rather enlightening and intriguing, as it always is when you have a brains of the magnitude as in Mr. Chesley Hamilton. So back over to you again, Mr. Chesley Hamilton, and let the people know that they can call in and interact with you and ask questions.
Give them the numbers for those who might want the numbers.
Okay, so give me a second there. Let me get that paper with the numbers.
We take it for granted that the people know the numbers.
Yeah, so I have the numbers now because I don't know them out of my head. I'm not really a phone person. 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. In the UK, you can call 033-344-0065. In the US of A, 718-285-6984. And in Canada, 305-921-4619. Over to you again, Mr. Hamilton.
Yeah, we did say those things very quickly. So I hope the people who are out there remember them. I know the 6620989 ones and the 7620989 and the 4660989.
Yes.
Yeah, I know those ones. I don't know the European, the Canadian, and the US ones.
You know, it amazes me that you folks can hold all those numbers in your head. I remember my mother.
I do things by association. So the 0989 is WinFM 98.9.
Okay.
So that's how I could remember those. But the others, I can't even tell you what you said.
Well, my mother in her latter years was blind, but she could remember numbers like crazy. She had a brain that she remembered everything. She was sharp up until the day before she died.
Yeah, you know? My brother in Canada, Malcolm, he has a brain like that as well. I mean, when it comes to numbers, figures, stats, he could tell you the quarterback stats, and he could tell you Viv Richards' average, and then so on up to today. And whether it's Malcolm Marshall or Courtney Ambrose, he could tell you what their averages are, how many wickets they got, and things like that. I mean, when it comes to stats, he read the newspapers from the back page to the front page. So he starts with the sports page and he goes right back to the editorial. Right. So he's like that. He has a brain like that.
Wow.
So yes, if you have any calls, please feel free. It's the last call for if you need to talk for the budget. What would you like to see in the budget coming forward? What do you think about double salaries and bonuses, and if you want to even discuss politicians' pay and emoluments and bonuses and allowances, any of those things you want to discuss, the speed limit, the SSZ, you name it, we're here for the final time for the year. Carnival, what do you think price money should be? Who you think sound good for the year? Any of those things you want to discuss. We're here for the final time. You want to discuss.
You've really broadened the perspective because Carnival, SSZ, so no one is limited when it comes.
You're not limited.
Yeah.
Bring it. You know. we are here. What's going on in CARICOM and in Venezuela, CARICOM, the zone of peace, what's happening at the UN, wherever, whichever war, and how do we fit into geopolitics and the alignments, what's going on with Brexit and, or the different alliances in terms of finance and so on between South Africa, India, China, and Brazil, etc. You name it. If you want to discuss these things and how they may affect you, and even we even welcome Gregory and his philosophy and the way that he placed everything in
a Christian
through
perspective.
a certain funnel. And we're not here to limit anybody or their opinion. We just ask you to be respectful.
Yeah.
And once you are respectful, we debate ideas. We don't insult people.
Let me ask you this then, until we get a caller. So far, we've had the budget from the Nevis perspective, and that has brought up a bit of debate because people one of the things that is coming out is the amount of money that Nevis used to get under the Unity construct, and it seems to me, I didn't hear the budget in its entirety, but it seems to me people are coming away with the impression that Nevis is now getting considerably less than it was getting. So what do you feel about that?
This is a problem that we have to fix. And if you talk about windfalls or grants from the SIDF or from any of that sort of adjustments in monies, that is different. And I would expect during COVID that Nevis will get a lot of budgetary support from the federal government. What nobody wants to debate and nobody wants to talk about is when you're in Nevis, if I have to go and take out a driver's license, I don't write the check, even though I have a St. Kitts Nevis driver's license. I don't write the check to the federal government. I write the check to the NIA.
Okay.
Even though the court system is run by the federal government, when the magistrate in Nevis charged me $1,000, $3,000, or $75,000 for some marijuana, I don't write that check to the federal government. That check is written to
the NIA.
The NIA. Now, someone says, Chesley, why are you bringing up this? I am simply saying to you, federal responsibility and administration is federal. And then there's supposed to be an adjustment or a formula to share. Well, what is happening is that the relationship bypasses that because they don't trust each other.
Okay.
You understand? So the Nevis Island administration don't trust the federal government. So once you're in Nevis, pay these taxes straight to the Nevis Island administration so that this money don't go saying is to come back. And somebody may say that is right. But I'm going to show you how I found out and how it affected me. 1 year, my birthday came, and you know, if you do nothing more, right? When you're on the radio morning times, Quinn, when you say, well, today is the 6th of December, and if today is your birthday, I wish you a happy birthday, but please go and check out to see if your driver's license expires.
Okay.
You should do that if you do nothing else. Because it is so easy to drive without knowing that your driver's license expired. And one day, I was in Nevis, and my driver's license was expired. So I went to the Inland Revenue there to renew my driver's license. I already took my picture, everything, paid my money, got my receipt. And then the person turned to me and said, this is a St. Kitts license, it's not a Nevis license. I said, hey. I got a St. Kitts Nevis driver's license, yeah? And I don't pay me money. So I need my driver's license. And until you guys work out your maths, I can hold on to this receipt.
Yeah.
When that was September, early October, because like I tell you, I was driving without knowing. I did not get my driver's license until June the next year. That's how long it took for them to sort it out.
Were you handicapped from driving?
No, I had my
Because you had
receipt.
your receipt. Okay, I just wanted that to be clear.
I had my receipt. And you know what they had to do? The Nevis Inland Revenue had to send my receipt and my documents down to St. Kitts for them to issue me a driver's license in St. Kitts.
So it's not automatic.
I don't know what is their problem, and I didn't need to know.
Yeah, you would think it's an automatic thing since we are a federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
But these are the sort of things they're telling you, and these are the things that are happening internally.
And that brings up...
I am simply saying, a Nevisian supposed to be able to get a driver's license in St. Kitts, and a Kittitian supposed to be able to get a driver's license in Nevis. And the story is a federal responsibility.
Yeah, but that brings up another aspect. That ties into what we were asking in terms of fair share. Because it then means it then means that what we assume goes into the coffers of the federal government does not all go into the coffers of the federal government.
We need honesty, transparency in these debates. Full disclosure. Let us disclose what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where is Rams paying its taxes?
Taxes, okay.
Okay, and then Rams tell you, listen to me. Most of my stuff, we import stuff in St. Kitts, and then we then send them over to Nevis. So therefore, we pay most of our duties in St. Kitts. Then we understand that. But then, what about your payroll taxes and so on? Where do you pay those? All your staff paid out of the St. Kitts headquarters or not? Even though they're employed in Nevis.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, there are ways of getting around this. If you want to trade in Nevis, there's people who are going to say, well, I'm a federal trader. I'm incorporated federally. But you must have certain local license. So if I was the Nevis Island administration, I would say, listen to me. If you're conducting business, you have to pay certain things in Nevis. Then it's going to come across, what is your jurisdiction for taxation? What is your jurisdiction to collect property tax? What is your jurisdiction for, for things like that? We do know that Nevlec and so on would collect its taxes there because electricity was specifically given and things like that. But we need full transparency. Not that everybody needs a civics lesson, but sometimes people need to understand, follow the money, look at the money, see where the income coming from, what are the flows, get the better understanding. Who is paying for the police officers, whether they're in St. Kitts or Nevis? Who are paying for the firefighters and the fire brigade? Who is paying for the letter career people, the mail carriers? If nursing is an island, Nevis Island responsibility and healthcare, are they paying for the nurses and the doctors in Nevis? And it's saying it's paying only for St. Kitts. Or is there a responsibility to transfer from the Ministry of Finance certain amount of money for the administration of these things? there must be an agreement that, yeah, the Constitution give me the right to administer these things, but the Constitution gives you the right to collect taxes. So, and there's supposed to be a formula. So you're supposed to send this amount of money for me to administer the headings under the Constitution. Let us work these things out. Sit down like big people, sit down like honest people, and work these things out. These are the heads that the Constitution say I am responsible for. This is the budget. Let us work out what is the federal budget and what's supposed to be my percentage of dealing with this. And I would say to you, per capita is not the only way of dealing with it. Let's just suppose that airports is a federal responsibility. Let's just suppose that. It may cost more to run, just as much to deal with the support in Nevis as it costs to deal with the support in St. Kitts or the airport. So you just can't say deal with it by per capita. No. That's not the issue. What does it cost to properly administer an airport at the levels of the regional agencies and keep the different standards of regional carriers and airplanes and so on, or vessels, to keep those kind of standards, aviation and otherwise, we need certain upgrades and we need funding. And these are the areas that the federal government have to sit down with the island administration and say, this is the level of funding for the next 5 years or whatever, and we are going to see to it that this money could be drawn down. They must sit down. They say they have inter-cabinet meetings. These are the things that they must do. But they must let the people understand that this is what is going on too. Don't just say, oh, we ain't getting no money and you're holding on to money and you're not being transparent and all that sort of thing. It doesn't go well when people are not informed. And the government needs to stop play politics and set off one against the other. Come to the people. Consult the people. Give the people the answer. Arm the people with information. Tell the people this is what is happening. Name them and shame them. If the federal government is being obstructive and stubborn, name them and shame them. The Calypsonians going to sing about it. If the Nevis Island administration is being shady and not being transparent, put it out there. And you always have, every 5 years, they have to go and renew their mandate. And the people will decide, no, you're not being honest with us. No, you're not being sincere with us. We are going to change. Or we want you to continue to advocate on our behalf. That is the way to do it. That is the way it works in a democracy. But we don't want to be held accountable. We want to behave like kings and popes, that we just give edicts from on high, and if you don't go along with us, you are against us and you're dumb, stupid, or racist. I don't believe that those are supposed to be words. Or you're being described as chaos, and the chaos of left and these sort of things. I don't believe that those are supposed to be the words that should be coming from our elected leaders and representatives and appointees.
It seems to me that this is from my perspective, that this alliance between the NIA and the present federal government, ruling government, the incumbent, is rather interesting, because there's an old saying, be careful what you ask for because you might get it. And I'm wondering if that is the case, because if you ask that you get what you call fair share, and then you find that, because we heard when that came up, especially, well, that has been up for a good while, but under this recent construct, that argument sort of waned, because it seemed as if though the leader of the Nevis contingent is quite comfortable. But yet still we heard that talk coming up, and then we heard the leader of the federal parliament say, well, we're going to put it to the IMF, right? It seems as if though it has come back, but it doesn't seem as if though it's as much as you thought it would have been. So that is why I say this is rather interesting, because again, be careful what you ask for because you might get it. So what do you think about that now? Because now can one argue that they're not getting a fair share?
Well, there is a formula within the Constitution. I don't remember. I'll have to go and look for it. But I don't think that formula works today.
Okay.
There is a need for a new dispensation, a new understanding. I do believe that. There is a need for them to sit down and dust off the formulas and come up with something different. But politicians, when it comes to the public purse and money, that's not their best. That's not in their best interest. So, if they could get away by passing the buck and saying, well, the World Bank or the IMF said this, and by so doing, give you less, or tell you ask for this, and they don't care about equity. They don't, and that is the case. Sometimes it's not equality; it's about equity. Sometimes you deserve more because of your circumstances.
It seems you have a caller. Hello,
Yes.
caller.
Yes, good morning to you two gentlemen, man. Good morning, Quint and the guest.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Today, man. Yeah, so Quint, great discussions like usual, man. When Chesley come on, I more want to listen than really call in because you get a wealth of information.
Yeah.
You see, I just heard him mention that you might need a new dispensation for the fair share. But I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the premier this week in the NIA Assembly. He made some comments that in regard to the revenue from the CPI. I think he indicated that, there's going to be a significant less amount coming over from Bastille in terms of that CPI revenue. I think he made reference to a decrease from 66 million down to 23 or 35 million. I stand corrected on that figure. And, but, in his opinion, he thinks that there might be a need for a new formula or situation. Dispensation, yes. But yet still we see that the Premier is reporting now that the pro rata rate has been used for his comments in the Assembly this week.
I don't understand that latter part of the statement.
The pro rata.
Yeah, what does that mean?
The pro rata meaning that they've gone back to the pro rata, but Mr. Hamilton has given his opinion that he thinks that there should be a new formula. And the Premier and the Prime Minister is not thinking that way. Why would they go back to the old situation in terms of that untaxed revenue from the CPI and not try to go to a new dispensation?
Okay, so let me ask, Mr.
Let me put it this way.
What does pro rata mean in this context?
Okay. If you have, let me put it this way. I'm going to explain it this way. If you're entitled to, let's say, 20% of the revenue, right? They may give based on the formula of your population. They might decide to give you 22 million or 20 million out of 100 million. But the issue is that the best way? Or you should say, boy, let me put it this way. Nevis wants $30 million. I'm going to give them $30 million out of the 100, take 70. it still means that I end up with 70 million. Nevis, the island of Nevis, got $30 million. Because if I only give them 20 million and take 80, because I got a bigger population, it might not be the issue of dealing with the majority population. It might be a matter of, okay, Nevis has to redo the whole water infrastructure, and St. Kitts has to redo the whole water infrastructure. Nevis is half the size of St. Kitts, so I could give them a third of the money, and take twice as much, which is 2/3 of the money. You understand? So if we're dealing with this money is going to infrastructure, or this money is going to civil servant resources, a budgetary support, it may take a different formula than population only. Nevis has a deep water port, St. Kitts has one. Nevis has an airport, St. Kitts has one. So when you come to dealing with what is required for the standard of living and providing services, the population is not the only indicator. And that is why I'm simply saying, dealing with everything on a pro rata / population basis is not the only indicator of how things are supposed to be divided.
I want to ask a question in this regard. Let me ask you a question, right? Suppose Nevis ever at any one point be able to put in half of the revenue, 50%.
And this is the thing, you know. This is transparent. You ask a very, very good question. Let's say Nevis becomes very, 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 very wealthy.
Yes.
You know, they have resource up there that we don't have, and they start to make more money. Right? The smaller population and the smaller landmass begin to make more money than the bigger population. Kind of like St. Thomas and St. Croix. St. Croix is bigger and so on, and St. Thomas is small. But St. Thomas is the political headquarters, etc. and so on. Are the divisions willing? Hold on. Are the divisions willing to then say, "Boy, we have to send a check down to St. Kitts"? In order to be equitable, in order to rebalance the citizenry. These are the sort of conversations we need to have about equity as opposed to equality, or about this pro rata thing and population. It is not being honest. We can think, we are intelligent people, and we need to be able to say, listen to me, this is what we need to do for our citizenship, our citizenry. But nobody want to have an honest conversation.
And I totally agree with you. You know what I'm saying? You know, I heard somebody made a statement on the radio, right? Oh, St. Kitts is controlling. St. Kitts is bigger. And he would not really want Nevis to ever control as a smaller island. But let's go to that St. Thomas and St. Croix Virgin Islands example. Not because you're bigger, you should always control. You know what I mean? These are the type of things that you're pointing to, where we need to have these discussions.
And it's easy for Nevis if Nevis start developing rapidly and get a bigger population density. Get a bit population density to St. Kitts. Like less people start living on St. Kitts, more people start living on Nevis.
This is why. I'll let you finish your thought. Go ahead.
You may have a situation like that. Let's just say tomorrow, just like Hess was in St. Croix, an oil refinery or something go to Nevis, and somebody say, oil, this thing, we're going into sustainable island state, we're not going in. And it started to provide some serious jobs, you know, in Nevis, and spin-off manufacturing jobs and so on. And it caused a population shift into Nevis. And then the income start growing and things like that. What would that bring to the balance of the bigger island when the population now has shift?
Okay. Can you stick a pen right there?
Yeah.
Please?
Yes.
Okay, let me align with you, right? And this is exactly why I'm calling in this morning, right? Because you see this destiny project that's proposed for Nevis. You see how the Prime Minister is moving right now? He tabled the bill, it's now a law, and then he's now trying to distance himself away from it, right? That is not good for him. It may not be good for the Turkish population, right? Additionally, what I want to say is that the Prime Minister, in his capacity, he ain't came over to Nevis in his capacity yet. He did make some visits over there, I understand that. But he hasn't came over and gone into that federal office that's there that they were trying to get operational and talk to the Nevis people, let them, voice their concerns directly. And he became a part of a law that's definitely affecting the Nevis side, St. side later on. And the fact that when Quint is on here talking every morning, he's pointing to negotiations. How our leaders are they prepared to negotiate with the fact that this Destiny project is the first of the kind that's possibly is proposed to come under the SSD law. The Prime Minister should have taken a more interest in what's going on over at Nevis. He's not just the Prime Minister of St. Kitts. He's the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. He should not let this be just up to the Premier and the Premier's team over there in the negotiations. He should make sure, because this is an initial project coming to the Federation, he should make sure he and his team, even if he's not there present himself all the time, have his reps from his office, right? Be a part of the negotiations and make sure that this thing goes in the right direction to benefit the people. And then he can maybe ease up later on as other projects come.
But Chesley, can that happen? Can that happen, Chesley?
Well, the
yes,
issue
that's a
is,
good point that you're coming in, Frank. Can that happen? Or can the Prime Minister be a part directly of what's going on with those negotiations?
The legislation says that the Prime Minister is responsible for bringing the deal to Parliament. So, and he said he has nothing has come to him, and he has not signed off on anything. So I guess that would be the way that would be answered. He doesn't have to go; it will come to him. I'm not playing with words there. Forgive me,
okay,
but I'm not playing with words. But the legislation said the Prime Minister is responsible for bringing it to Parliament, and the agreement, the SSZ agreement, every project must have an agreement. So, and he's saying no agreement from Destiny has come to him as yet, and he hasn't signed off on any agreement. So therefore, kind of put a pause on most of the talk, and that is why too, he doesn't want to repeal, because if he repeals, there is no law. If there is no law, the Nevis can go and do what it wants.
Okay.
In the interim, and then he doesn't have to then take it to the Prime Minister to take to Parliament. So, if there's going to be repeal, there must be repeal and replace almost simultaneously.
Okay.
Right? Because he has to put something in place to cover
Burl,
the gap.
Burl, hold a minute.
Go ahead.
There's another caller. There's another caller. Caller, let us hear your voice.
Good morning, Brother Quint. Good morning, humble servant Chesley Hamilton. I've been waiting to conversate with you. And
so Quint,
I am listening.
Burl, hold a minute. Someone is
I'm
speaking.
listening very, very keenly. The portion that I may inject on. Can I proceed or allow the conversation to continue? Okay. Now, before I move forward, Mr. Hamilton, are you prepared to be Attorney General of St. Kitts under my watch? Should needs be, and should the people elect me, and the candidates who are elected select me to be the Prime Minister, are you prepared to be my choice of Attorney General? Number one reason, you are up for an education You are the only attorney that can give us information. And I consider you just like Ian Pattis, whether you like him or not. Okay? The two of you, in my book, I will seek advice and seek with dynamic minds to shape this country moving forward. Because you are what you are and you are good at your craft. This is the voice of Winston Welcome, an independent candidate for the next upcoming election. And God will allow me to be that person. Believe you me, in spite of what. Also, pertaining to the Brian Clark, I heard it in another conversation and I've been pushing that forward. The Brian Clark does not speak to nationals, people who are born in St. Kitts. It speaks to citizens who are not born in St. Kitts. It doesn't speak to the indigent, and for that reason, a born citizen in St. Kitts can run for office, and that Brian Clark was meant for Fitzroy Brian, and he is dead, and that should be abolished, abandoned, and let any citizen, anywhere in the diaspora who feel they need to contribute to their country of birth be given that chance. But I'm looking forward for those who are against to come forward and state their claims according to the Constitution. The Constitution needs to be interpreted, and I am surprised that the dynamic minds and the scholars in St. Kitts and the Caribbean does not weigh their perspective and such to clarify, because it is confusionistic.
What caller?
Yes,
What is confusionistic? The Brian Clause?
The understanding of the Brian Clause.
But you just stated that it does not incorporate individuals born here. So why are you defending it when you were born here?
Well, what I'm trying to say, let me just put it. It needs to clarify more keenly to those who I think.
But I'm speaking in relation to you and Burl. Burl used to keep up this, but I noticed that he has stopped, to his credit. So why are you keeping it up?
Burl ain't stopped.
Okay, well, Burl is there. So, but so why are you and Burl consistently keeping up this talk when it does not incorporate you?
Let me talk to myself. Let me talk about myself in that regard.
Yeah, go ahead, Burl.
Go ahead, Burl. Go ahead, Burl.
Okay, Mr. Hamilton, in relationship to what the other caller just said, right?
Yeah.
I have now realized that it is not the Brian Clause. It's the legislation that possibly Denzel Douglas must have put in place to catch Lindsey Graham and Sean Richards in the act. And I stand corrected. You can correct me as we go along. I'm not rallying for that Brian Clause like that, really, anymore. But what I would have liked to see done, not for me alone, but everyone in the diaspora who that has affected. And what I've come to learn is that the legislation is what is blocking those persons with a dual citizenship, a foreign passport.
Yeah,
and
it's twofold.
I'll leave it.
It's twofold. Right? Yeah, you could be here, you could be born here and have dual citizenship, and they're saying you cannot run. That's the legislation part. But if you're born elsewhere and you live all your life here, they're saying too that you can't, you cannot participate under the Brian Clause. And I am simply saying the Brian Clause need to go for this reason. You can't have a Brian Clause and Caleb Azariah Paul Sokol is a national hero.
And he's not a natural born.
But that is the thing. People who are not born here has contributed significantly to our development, and you know, barring them from so doing. Why?
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 That's where I started champion.
Why?
That's where I started champion that cause, because
why? That is what I'm saying.
Not for myself.
Fitzroy Brian, his name is on the college because he contributed significantly. Wasn't born here. I think St. John Payne probably was born in Anguilla. You understand?
But if he was born in Anguilla, we
At
were
the time,
saying
I'm just showing you. I'm just showing you. Today it might be a different story, but I'm just showing you.
Yeah.
Toussaint Louverture, not Toussaint Louverture, Christophe left here and went Haiti. We had people left here and went to Trinidad and be part of their parliament. We have had people who left. Alexander Hamilton left here and became Secretary of the Treasury in the United States.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and contributed 52 of the 80 odd federal papers. I am simply saying to limit our leadership for this narrow interest to people who are born in here or are citizens here from here and those who don't have dual citizenship is to limit the participation of our best and brightest minds many times.
That's correct.
And therefore, I am simply saying to you, even if you limit it, that you can't be prime minister. Okay?
But the right
even,
to be
listen to me, even if you limit it that you can't be prime minister, you should not limit it that you can't contribute in parliament. And I'm going to put it this way. Maurice Bishop wasn't born in Grenada. I think many, I don't remember if Gary as well, but a number of them, the first 3 or so prime ministers of Grenada were born in QSO. Lester Bird was born in the United States. I'm just showing you. And his major contribution was to Antigua. Why are we doing this? For narrow-minded issues.
Narrow-minded issues. In my humble opinion, that whether it's the Brand Clause or
but you still want the same people who can't come to Parliament to vote in your election because they are Commonwealth citizens.
To come and vote.
They are listen to me. Yeah, the dual citizen must come and vote. The Commonwealth citizen who resides here for a year must vote. Something is not consistent. That's all I'm saying. Something is totally inconsistent. And therefore, that is some of the things that we need to understand. We need to have a good conversation about it because it is retarding our progress, and it is just to benefit a selected few who feel I fit this narrow thing here, and let me take this little turf here, because other people who have other benefits elsewhere, I don't think they should have the same rights here. We don't need no turf war. We do not need turf war. We need our best and brightest minds and people who have the best interests of this country contributing. I could say again, if you say that that person cannot be prime minister, okay, why should they not be able to run? Colin Powell was born in Jamaica. Right? He became Secretary of State. Henry Kissinger, Madeleine Albright, all of them end up in cabinet. They weren't born in the United States. Even John McCain was born in Panama. You understand?
We the citizens of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis should not have to fight this much to get that right to put our names on them ballots. And like you said, I don't mind if they limit the prime ministership, but my idea is to get in that federal house where I can make that input.
I don't want a prime minister who has an allegiance, adherence, or whatever to another state. I do not want a prime minister with dual citizenship. Okay, listen to me. I do not want a prime minister with dual citizenship. Right?
I agree with that.
I do not think that a cabinet minister or a parliamentarian, if he has dual citizenship, somehow he's going to sell out sell out the country.
Country at
Or
birth
if he was born elsewhere and live all his life here, somehow he's not going to be a good contributor to national policy or national development. I don't buy that.
Whatever legislation that is, it is not serving any purpose whatsoever.
But listen to this twist. Listen to this twist. We don't want cabinet and the legislature to have any of that. But we could give over the whole judiciary, the other branch of government, to non-citizens. We could give it over.
And
we're quite comfortable.
And I want you to be more specific as to where does that imply?
What does that imply?
Where
you can have judges and magistrates, okay, and DPP, and all of these kind of things, and persons in the judicial system and in the criminal judicial system, not citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay, I understand now.
Not citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. You could. I'm not telling you you have. I'm simply telling you. And then your appeal court is not, your appeal court again, non-nationals. And then you could go to the Privy Council. Non-national, non-citizen, or even the CCJ. And you're comfortable with that. We the citizens are comfortable with the third branch of government not being citizens. But you can't have a non-citizen contributing to legislation policy or to the executive in the country. We need to have a wider debate. We need to have a good conversation, and we need to see where we can get contribution, whether from regional, international, or wherever we need to have it. Stop, let our prejudices mask what is best for St. Kitts and Nevis.
So I totally agree and concur to everything you just said. That whatever legislation it is not serving any purpose but just to block a certain segment of the citizenry.
A certain level of contribution too.
Getting inside of the parliament.
A certain level of contribution?
Yes, exactly.
One of the reasons why I let Chesley, expound on this is because he's a legal individual. He knows the various ramifications. But I say to you, Burl, and to you, Welcome, the relevance of what Mr. Chesley Hamilton says, both of you need to put emphasis on the part that affects you. And leave out the part that does not affect you. Put emphasis on the part where you as citizens, because you have dual citizenship, are handicapped by or impeded by, but don't be pushing the other aspect because that does not apply to you. Chesley has a right to expound on everything because not only that he has a wide knowledge, but he is a legal individual, so he knows the different ramifications related to such. So that is why I prefer to let him think.
I just widen the debate. That's all it is. I widen the debate and so that we're not...
Quinn,
yes.
and Mr. Hamilton and Quinn, check this out, right? You see what we're talking about right here? I guess by now we would have already done heard what Trump said about his policy in regard to something like this. The man is saying persons who have dual citizenship, he is going to be looking at that.
But he has gone further. He now simply saying that if you're born here, if you're born in the United States, that doesn't automatically give you citizenship.
You know who
that is now before the Supreme Court, and that decision probably will come down about June next year.
If you pledge allegiance to America and get an American passport, you have to be moving like an American citizen and possibly give up that foreign dual citizenship.
Quinn, let me clarify. First of all, I am not a citizen of the United States. I am a resident. And
so Quint is advising you to leave out the part that don't affect you.
Yeah, he doesn't get it.
Who are in the diaspora, who are national.
That's the reason why you see me fall back a little bit, Quint, because I know exactly what's affecting me from what isn't.
Yeah.
It's just the legislation at this point.
Yeah.
That I'm asking to get removed, because at the end of the day, I don't see why one party will be so much against having, a more wider pool of candidates to have these persons contribute to the society. Why would you move like that when if one party recruits persons in the diaspora, the other party can do the same? You have a wicketkeeper on your cricket side team, your cricket team. I could get a wicketkeeper easily too. We both have wicketkeepers on our side. The playing field would be level no matter what.
We have only 2 more minutes before we're out of here.
All right. Let me get my.
Burl, you're gonna hang up?
No. I want to go back to what we were saying in 30 seconds.
Okay. Finish your statement and then hang up.
No.
Okay,
I just want to wish you.
I'm going. Huh?
Ball, I want to wish you all the best for the season and for the new year.
Yeah, same here, man. Same here.
What about me?
I'm coming to you because before Ball go, I just wanted to say that before he goes. He was about to speak.
Yeah, so Ball, finish your statement.
So here's my 30 seconds now. Here's my 30 seconds. We're going to go back to before Welcome came on the line. And Chesley, somebody asked Dr. Jew the question, is he concerned about those 7 to 10 to 15,000 people coming into that Destiny area in Nevis? He seems like he didn't care. But what I'm saying to the Prime Minister is what we have discussed just now is that if the numbers on Nevis change, it's definitely going to affect that fair share arrangement. And Mark is ahead of him when it comes to that. And the Prime Minister got to pay attention to that stuff, because he may not be in office. If that Destiny project comes to fruition, he may not be in office at that time, but it's going to go down in his legacy. And thanks for the explanation, man. I had some questions for you, but when Quint let you expunge, that was good. I got a lot from what you said when you expunge. And I'll leave it there. And to you and Quint, enjoy the season, and we'll get back together at the top of the year. Godspeed life.
Yeah, same to you.
Now, Mr. Welcome, I just want to wish you all the best for the new year and for the season. Hope that you and your family stay safe. And let me answer your question now. I, Chesley O'Neill Hamilton, I really don't want a government job at this point in time in my life. I never say never, but it's not something that I am pursuing or am very excited about at this juncture. The contribution that I am making, I make it irrespective of who is in office, who is the government. I could speak truth to power no matter what. These are things that I think about, I believe in, and I don't mind sharing. I don't mind giving. I don't mind contributing. I will give to anybody. I mean, the conversations that I do have with politicians throughout the region, with politicians through and on the other side, okay, quietly sometimes, with advisors and so on. I help them, I contribute to them, because for me, holding it in my head and holding on to it ain't not gonna benefit me, and he ain't making no money for me or anything for me. So it's okay for me to give of it freely, voluntarily, willingly, because if it improves my country, we all benefit. Okay. And that's all I want.
So make your closing statement now.
Yeah, let me just add to that. But you could be, like you said, a framer of the new administration moving forward. So whatever contribution you could make, you should make, and should needs be, it will be very well received, and it's a waiting for. I yearn for it. All right, moving forward with this Parata business. Yes, St. Kitts is twice the size of Nevis.
We're 2 minutes. We're 2 minutes over time,
Yeah.
so you're gonna be brief, please.
Let me say, and I stand for correction, better suggestion. If St. Kitts has 50 people, Nevis got 10 people. A project needed to be done in Nevis, a project needed to be done in Nevis. We should see those projects fulfilled rather than projects sent over to Nevis. It might not be enough, it might be too much. Let's work that way in peace and tranquility. Let us make the country what it should be, rather than to be fighting over this share. We put the needs where needs should be to all the people of the Federation. And we must have empathy for every human being and respect their dignity. And that's what I stand for. And I'm not the only one. I love the people. I love my country. And I will continue to press on without any fortune favor. No bribery. And I will leave it there. I will yield back the time to you. Just I hope I will be able to meet you when I come. And I hope I could get a number where we could even have dialogue, personal, up close and personal, or over the waves.
You are
a good man.
I'm easy to reach, you know. I'm easy to reach. I'm sure you could find a number for me somewhere online, you know. 662-4848 and all of these things. I'm a phone call away. I am a phone call away. I'm not afraid to contribute or to help in any which way. As I said to you, last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago, I was on Voice of Barbados with a number of regional people talking about CARICOM and what's going on in Trinidad, Venezuela, Haiti, etc., St. Vincent, Grenada, Barbados, all of these things. I contribute regionally, whether it's cricket, whether it's politics, or it's policy. I'm not afraid to speak truth to power. And if that's my only contribution, I'm happy to do it. At this level, at this juncture of my life, and I would say it again, at age 62, I don't think I should be entering elective politics. Other people might think differently, but I don't think that this is the time to be entering politics. I was never elected. I ran 3 times, and I tip my hat to those who are there, and I have said, listen to me, it's time for me to do other things and move on. So, but thanks for the gesture, thanks for the vote of confidence, but it's not parliament and elected politics or whatever is not something that I am pursuing at this juncture. Thank you very much, Quint. All the best for the season.
Same to you.
All the best for the new year. Success, health, strength. In your pursuits of happiness and industry, you and your family. And I just want to wish the winnfm family, your supporters, your listeners, your audience, all the best. And may they have a productive and prosperous new year and holiday season. May it brings lots of joy, success, and fruits of prosperity. Thank you for having me. I want to thank winnfm for inviting me and to have me. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to participate and to contribute to the universal discourse time and time again.
Yeah, well, the same to you. Do take care. All the best to you and your family. You have kids, right?
God kids, as you call them. I have no biological kids.
Oh, okay. Because I asked that because yesterday when I was I went to Value Mart, and when I'm coming out, I saw my youngest son coming, and, the sense of pride that you feel, when you see your sons and your daughters, and I didn't know he had already seen me, so I said, hey, and then he came closer and he said, I saw you, and that is why I took this juncture,
Let me correct one thing, though. My wife do have a son.
Okay.
And that is our son.
That is definitely it is your. So yeah, when you would have gotten a beating when you go home. glad you excluded that.
I gotta make sure I deal with that. He is awesome.
Yes.
Yes, and so, and I'm happy to have him in my life.
Yes.
And therefore, he's a good kid. You know, he spent about 4 months in Japan being part of the St. Kitts Expo.
Okay.
This year, he's a very smart and intelligent kid.
Yes.
And I just want him to go from strength to strength in the IT and robotics field.
Yeah.
He's hoping to go off at some
That is
point
the
in
future,
time.
you know. That
Yeah,
is the future.
like I said, the kid is bright. The kid is smart.
Yeah.
Very intelligent and hardworking. And I just want him to go from strength to strength. You know, he has been to Greece as part of the Robotic Association. He's been to Japan and head up the St. Kitts contingent of the
Robotics.
of the expo.
Yeah.
And you know, I just want to wish Yanni all the best in his future as well.
Yeah.
That's his name. You know, they've been awarding all sorts of things for the great teens, you know, and successful teens. I mean, for what he's doing and contributing to St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes.
At home and federally. I don't see nobody nominating him for no magnificent teens, but his work speaks for itself. And I just want to say to all of those out there, don't let me being in his life stop him from getting his accolades.
No, it should not. It should
you understand?
Not. And I can see the smile on your face, and I can hear father's pride. So yes.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
Take care.
And I just want to wish him all the best.
Yes.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
Ready to make this holiday season your biggest and brightest yet? Whatever the reason, come to National Bank this season. For the perfect gifts, new furniture, or new appliances, get up to $150,000 unsecured. Or for that brand new vehicle, drive off with up to $250,000. No down payment, low interest rates, and fast approval. Whatever the reason, come to National this season. Skip the holiday rush and apply online at www.sknanb.com. This offer ends January 31st, 2026. Apply today.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With the WinFM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown. Our top stories. St. Kitts Nevis Prime Minister on participation at COP30 continues a strong call for renewable energy and climate justice. Caribbean citizens graduate from Green Apprenticeship Program, gaining skills for sustainable jobs. Social media unit sparks fierce debate among Tobago's youth. Internationally, Russia-India ties. Trade agreements signed despite pressure from the West. Now the details. St. Kitts and Nevis successfully concluded its comprehensive engagement at the 30th Conference of Parties COP30 in Belém, Brazil, with a clear focus on advancing Pillar 1 of its Sustainable Island State Agenda, energy transition. Recognizing that energy security is intrinsically linked to development security, the Federation's presence and actions at the conference underscored this priority. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, during a recent sitting of the Roundtable, highlights some of the positives emerging from COP30.
As you know, there were some good things coming out, and not to mention fossil fuel as a direct cause of climate change and all of the consequences of that. That to me is a bit disappointing, especially because I'm living in a region, the Caribbean region, where we are affected disproportionately by the scourge of climate change. We contribute hardly anything to it, yet we suffer the most as a result of it. And therefore, I'm simply saying that we really, really need to continue to advocate very strongly for more climate justice. The cost of climate change is extremely expensive. Climate change is now costing Jamaica lives and over $8 billion in damages. Where's Jamaica going to get that money from? The insurance that Jamaica is going to get is a few $100 million US dollars, few $100 million US dollars, which is a drop in the bucket compared to what the real damage is.
Dr. Drew also noted that commitments to financing adaptation initiatives are lacking, especially for small island developing states. He emphasizes that the Federation must invest in itself to help mitigate the impacts of any future significant climatic event, as seen with Hurricane Melissa's impact on Jamaica.
Jamaica is not going to recover that area to the point where it was developed for a very long time. Where's the money going to come from? That is what climate change is causing. Lives, deaths, destruction, economic devastation, risking the very survival of communities and countries. And so we in the Caribbean, we have to take this climate change matter seriously. That is why we have to get to a sustainable island state. That is why that is the priority. We need healthcare infrastructure, we need housing infrastructure, we need water infrastructure, we need energy infrastructure, all these things. Food security, healthcare security. These things should be our priority. And we have invested millions of dollars into them. And we'll continue to invest. These are tough decisions. Because sometimes it's easier to ask about some other things than to ask about the more sustainable long-term things. But if you don't do that, and a hurricane hits, and the people are not secured, then they would look to me and say, but you heard about climate change. You spoke about it. Why you ain't do anything about it? Well, I didn't do anything because the people asked for something else. The people said to me, but we'd make you a leader to make the decisions even when it's tough, to protect us, and you have failed to do such. So one thing I would not be accused of is not to prioritize what is fundamentally important to protect our people.
The impact of intensified hurricanes, prolonged droughts, and rising sea levels is apparent, and advocacy must continue, according to Prime Minister Drew.
And at this time, as I talk about climate change, it is very important. So I am disappointed that that was not mentioned in the last COP, and there seems to have been some softening up. And I'm hoping that we can get back to where we are supposed to be. We'll continue in St. Kitts and Nevis to advocate, to invest where we have to invest, to push for renewable energy so that we can help to protect and safeguard our planet. Right now, it is bad because we have surpassed the 1.5 degrees Celsius. In any hurricane season, we are extremely high risk that a Caribbean country would be hit by a Category 3 or stronger hurricane. And the Category 5s are becoming more often. 2 Category 5s passed through the region this year. Fortunately, one of them missed all of the islands, but the second one punished Jamaica and then went on to hit Cuba and had impact in Haiti and Bahamas and other areas. That's the new reality. And where would Jamaica get hundreds of billions of dollars from to build a country that is so resilient? That is the cost it would cost a country like Jamaica. Where's that money going to come from?
Climate adaptation cannot be achieved without climate financing, and the investment globally took a recent hit with the US, one of the most significant contributors to the worsening climate crisis, pulling out of the Paris Agreement.
That money should come from those who have contributed most to the climate change. That is climate justice. You cause the problem, you pay for it. But here's Jamaica contributed very little to climate change and is being punished by a Category 5 hurricane that has caused deaths and destruction of property and economic devastation. And so therefore, we must continue to push as countries that are most affected by climate change for justice in all aspects, cutting the fossil fuel, funding our resilience, funding to cut our vulnerability and helping our transition. We just don't have the money in St. Kitts and Nevis for that. That is why we have to prioritize. Nobody is coming to give us that. You know how hard it is to get climate funding? You have to meet all of these measures. Right now, we are trying to get some money for our water. And we can't get it. You have to go to this and that and that and that. So while they are out there putting us through all of these hoops to get some money for water, we have to rush to invest and take up $50 million plus in cash to quickly get us a desalination plant.
Pillar 1 of the Sustainable Island State Agenda includes geothermal exploration, grid upgrades, solar battery energy storage systems, and advanced metering infrastructure, as well as national efforts focused on a just and inclusive clean energy transition. While commitments continue to be made to finance climate adaptation, climate justice, and other mechanisms to combat the climate crisis, there are no guarantees that SIDS will access sufficient funds to fully fulfill their sustainability agendas.
We cannot ensure anything because last time, with the Paris Agreement and with the previous COP, a whole heap of money is always pledged. And what you actually get is a drop in the bucket. There's nobody coming to save us. And we have to understand that as a people. Nobody is coming to save us. These pledge and pledge and pledge, a lot of the times they're just pledges. And this small amount cannot fundamentally transform us and make us fundamentally more resilient. We have to do it ourselves. Dear people of St. Kitts and Nevis, nobody is coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. That is the message I want to convey. So I have no confidence in that. If it works out, I will welcome it, but I am not hanging my hat on that because we have seen what has happened over time. We have to save ourselves.
Continued participation in regional and international climate conferences and forums is paramount. However, Prime Minister Drew also believes that St. Kitts and Nevis must put national plans in place and not rely solely on external avenues for climate justice or finance. In regional news, Caribbean citizens graduate from Green Apprenticeship Program gaining skills for sustainable jobs, DBS St. Lucia reports.
The Skills to Access the Green Economy, or SAGE, held an apprenticeship summit at the Bay Gardens Hotel. The summit brought together representatives across all 6 Caribbean countries that have implemented SAGE's apprenticeship pilot program and technical experts from Canada. Pat Burdart, the SAGE Senior Technical Advisor, says one of the summit's main objectives is to identify how to develop apprenticeship training programs with employers in the Caribbean.
The significance, I think, of SAGE and this apprenticeship program is that it's working to look at people that are unskilled to help them get certification and get training in the field so they can become skilled trades workers. There isn't, across the Caribbean and in St. Lucia, there isn't enough training opportunities. We have lots of people that have been trained by their aunt, their uncle, whoever, but they haven't been trained fully in theory and combining that with practice. So we're hoping that it'll change how we look at skilled trades workers and how we can upskill workers in the country.
For SAGE's pilot apprenticeship program in St. Lucia, Burdart says that it was difficult finding employers to work with. In the end, she says Cabot St. Lucia stepped up and about 40 St. Lucians received training in landscaping with certification from the TVET Council. Executive Director of the TVET Council, Perry Thomas, says there is a need to revisit the apprenticeship system in St. Lucia to provide skills and certification necessary for the workforce. One of the challenges, he says, that faces the country when it comes to apprenticeship programs is the perception that apprenticeships cannot happen in non-trade areas, such as accounting or human resource management.
As you would know, a lot of our people over the years have acquired the technical expertise, have acquired the skills of functioning in areas such as HR management and accounting. However, we have not established the framework that says, okay, let us create parity between trades and non-trade skills. We have not done so. And so therefore, in this particular instance, we are trying to establish that parity and utilizing a framework that is applied so that persons both within trades and non-trade areas can actually proceed within an apprenticeship program.
Thomas says that legislation must also be taken into consideration when it comes to apprenticeship programs. He adds that apprenticeships provide opportunities to lower the unemployment rates. Across the 6 SAGE apprenticeship pilot program countries, namely Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, and St. Lucia, about 180 individuals have benefited from the program. For the DBS News World, Miriam Montoute reporting.
Social media unit sparks fierce debate among Tobago's youth. Triple D Live Online has the details.
Secondary school students took charge of the Assembly Legislature on Thursday, debating the establishment of social media units within Tobago House of Assembly divisions and the state-owned entities. Assuming the role of Chief Secretary, Destiny Weeks lamented while young people enjoy the use of social media, there is a dark side that can have negative effects. She said no systems are in existence in Tobago to address online issues faced by the youth.
Schools stressing, parents confused, and police only getting involved when it reaches crisis points. A social media unit will change all of that. This unit will give us people trained to handle online threats, real education on cyber safety, faster ways to report issues, support for youths who are dealing with online bullying, guidance for state companies when communicating with the public. THA protecting us in schools, in communities, on the roads, so why the online world, where we're spending most of our time, have zero structure?
Adding to the motion, leader of Assembly Business, Coquise Davidson, presented UNICEF research highlighting that Caribbean teenagers spend 6 to 8 hours online daily, concluding that young people are heavily influenced by international content. Therefore, she noted the social media unit will allow for Tobago stories to be told in a structured way.
This department is not about controlling youths, it is about empowering us, guiding us, and protecting us. It would monitor harmful content, push educational campaigns, teach digital literacy in schools, help parents understand online risk, and most importantly, create and amplify Tobago's cultural content, so powerful that, as TikTok would say, it would eat and leave no crumbs. Imagine folk songs reimagined for TikToks, short films about legends, clips of goat race, speech band calypso, not hiding but trending.
However, the minority firmly rejected the motion. Minority Leader Elijah Grant questioned whether a social media unit is the solution, as he explained there are already systems in place.
The majority speaks of a lack of protections for persons online, but they are clearly misinformed. Had they done their research, they would know that Tobago already has the TTPS Cybercrime Unit, which is the body of police tasked with investigating online offenses. We have TATT. This body regulates digital behavior and telecommunication breaches. We have the Child Protection Unit, and this body deals directly with exploitation and digital